Seek not for happiness, yet instead seek for contentment. And what this means is that happiness is very temporary. Happiness is a shadow. And in a way, you simply, in the searching for happiness, you'll never find it. Because it's not happiness that one is truly ever seeking. It is a rich life. It is loved ones. It's connection. It's friendship. It's wonderful ideas. It's great times. And those things are produced by the action of doing. The action of being there for your friends, for thinking about them, for spending time with them, for serving, for helping, for going far beyond and doing things that you never imagined you really could. So, in that way, and that in itself is not necessarily happiness. Sometimes it's miserable when you help. Sometimes it's miserable when you go above and beyond what you think you could do. You're going to be in pain the next day. You may be in pain in the moment. And yet you go and achieve and complete these things anyway, and you are satisfied. You're in pain, and yet you're satisfied. And that's the secret, right? That's the real secret, is that in contentment, you can be happy when you suffer. You can be happy when you're in pain. And I'm not saying that you should try to be in suffering, because actually you should alleviate your own suffering to some degree. It should not be the end of which all of your choices come to, because it produces very terrible and awful results. When you only concern yourself with your own suffering, you will go to your very death seeking its cure. And there is not necessarily any cure for your suffering. Right? I mean, there may be some cures for a part of your suffering, for parts of these other things, but much of those particular problems have to do with some interior resolve. I mean, the world itself can be hell, right? I mean, there are people who are dying right now of malnourishment. There are people who are stricken with terrible disease, and they will not recover. They will die. And yet many of them, these same people who are suffering and dying, may be people who could teach you lessons about living that you, at this current point in your life, may not actually have available to you. Right? Because these people who are dying, they realize that only life is important, right? At least in this moment, for what life means. And that's actually one of the lessons that I was taught by a dying boy, is that life's really important. And you could go, do, or say anything, and yet if you meet life with a great deal of resolve, your life will be incredible. You will have an incredible impact. And you didn't have to do anything but live. So it's contentment, and it's not even to really seek it, because one need not seek contentment. One need not seek enlightenment. These things are byproducts of an emergent phenomena of specific acts, right? So, when it comes in terms of the ideas of enlightenment, you're going to read many books, maybe. You're going to go and do many things, maybe. You may sit underneath the Bodhi tree. And maybe after you've done and thought a great many things and then engaged in the act of forgetting, you come to realize that I carried water early in my life, and then I carried water late in my life. Even though I was enlightened. Even though you're enlightened. And you're still going through, and they're wonderful acts because you realize that it's just a necessity. And that's okay. It's okay if things aren't perfect. It's okay if you're not the best, you're not the greatest. If you can be, then do. Because you help us all. Because that's our greatest hope. Our greatest hope in this life is that we can encourage, or we ourselves can be the best at any particular thing, so long as it doesn't hurt other things. Because if we do that, if we create the conditions for that to emerge, then we create something that can actually help itself out in very incredible ways and to help out the majority of us. And there's a whole lot of wisdom to that. Because if our acts, great or small, produce a great impact for us, the singular, for our families, for our communities, and not just for us, because, at the end of the day, if we only concern ourselves with humanity, especially when we're dealing with a planet, an Earth, that sustains us, then we die anyway. Our whole species dies because we didn't have enough care or understanding that we're not the only thing that exists. Even trees. So you look at a grouping of trees and you think, oh, these trees, they're just trees. They're not doing anything right. Well, that's foolish. These trees are communicating through hormones and chemical signals underneath the very soil. And not only that, but they care for their family. So say that there's a particularly bad year. Trees will send food and energy to other trees, other supply, especially in their family. And also outside of their family, so trees themselves can be altruistic. And if trees can do these things, then what can we do?